everything is not on our wall at the same time, so we do have need for their storage. We can have approximately 45% of our collection is on display in the house at any given time. The rest of it, we have a long-term loan currently with the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve in DC. They have about 10 pieces of ours that they just kind of, they hang them in the employee areas. And they're not, they're not the parishes and stuff. They're, they're minor pieces, but they're great. I miss them. So I actually go over there and have lunch every now and then just to see my paintings and make sure that they're okay and come home. People ask me, how do we go about finding our art? Well, my glib answer, and this is the one that we always use, is we use the vulture method. Death, divorce, taxes, auction, and private sales. And we can also add child support and tuition onto that list these days. We have gotten quite a few of our pieces from people who have inherited them from their grandma and just didn't know what to do with them. The most wonderful story I'm going to tell you about this is we got a beautiful Harvey Dent painting called Desert Rose. We had been after Mrs. Herring to sell us this painting for about 30 years. Ever since we first saw it, we had to have it. Had to have it, had to have it, had to have it. She said no. So we said, okay. But every time we did an exhibition, we sent her a catalog. We sent her an invitation. We sent her, Christmas cards. Keep us in mind, keep us in mind. 2 years ago, she passed away at the age of 98. God rest her soul, she was a wonderful lady. I got an email out of the blue from her son about a year after she passed. And he said, are you still interested in this painting? And of course we're like, yeah. Been after for 30 years, yes. So we bought the painting, and with it came the most wonderful letter. On it, it said, dear boys, I know that this is not your favorite painting, but when you are finished with it, you must sell it and make sure that it goes to the Kelly Collection of American Illustration, because I know that we'll have a good home there. Well, of course we had to pay the premium for that. But, so we do get pieces that way. Primarily, we are an auction and private sale collector. We subscribe, why do I say we, there's no mouse in my pocket, but I subscribe to over 70 different auction sites, and every week I get 70 to 150 different emails about tractor auctions and, I'm like, really? All right, well, great. But I also have watch lists on Google, Yahoo, eBay, Etsy even. And there are a lot of dealers that know who we are. And so I have want lists out with them. And a lot of them, for example, Illustration House and Fred Taraba and Heritage Auctions, they have been to our house, to the collection, and they know what we're looking for, and they've seen our website. So they know what quality we're looking for. Now, and we tend to be offered things early in the offering biz because it's well known that we will pay a fair price and pay, which is, you think that's not a common thing. Well, it's not. And they'll know that we tend to give the pieces that we purchase, because now we're to the point where they have to knock something else off the wall in order for us to buy it. We don't just buy willy-nilly anymore. We now buy specifically to knock something off the wall. And if it does, it's given almost what we like to call a forever home. And we don't buy and flip things. We don't buy and sell quickly that way. Now, we've also got a website, which is www.thekellycollection, it's really easy to remember, .org. And this brings us a different group of dealers, people who are called pickers. They haunt flea markets, barn sales, estate sales, the Salvation Army. And And they tend to offer me things on a fairly regular basis. And I have to keep telling them, no, I'm sorry, we don't want that. We don't collect framed magazine tear-outs that your Grammy kept for 50 years in the bathroom because it was really cute so bad. No. In fact, I really, if I could cancel American Pickers, Pawn Stars, Antiques Roadshow, and shut down the internet for Etsy and eBay, I would be a happy woman. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, have, through these particular shows, have gotten the idea that anything old is valuable. And no, sorry. So if you guys are out there being pickers, no. Don't offer it to me, please. I am more than happy to look at whatever you do have, if it's American Illustration, and I'll be more than happy to tell you what it's worth. That little APA thing I have going on with me, so it's cool. When we began collecting back in the early 80s, we were able to buy large lots of things because American Illustration wasn't cool yet. George Lucas hadn't started buying yet. Rockwell was still considered kitsch. So we were able to go under the radar, and we really built our collection on being under the radar, being quiet, and spending a lot of money. Nowadays, we could not build our same collection because of the money in Silicon Valley and people just paying crazy prices for things that I'm like, really? No. Naked women don't need to be, you don't need to buy that picture. But that's okay. What happens when something finally gets to us? When I finally say, yes, I will buy you. Well, the first thing that happens, and I actually had to make this a little French guy because our conservator, Marie-Hélène Guggenheim, is French. And she's been with us since the beginning. She has touched every painting in the collection. I also have a conservator who does our paperwork. He works for the National Gallery. Wonderful guy, slow. Takes him 6 months to clean something. But of course, I don't want to know what paper conservators do. I don't want to know. They tend to take things like watercolors and pen and ink, and they put them in a water bath. They take my pencil sketches and they rub them. They take my pastels and do awful things, like rub them and put them in water, and I don't want to know. I mean, the oil is bad enough. I can handle that, with natural enzymatic solution, also known as spit, used to clean, things off of my paintings. I'm cool with that, because I can handle that. But I can't handle what paper conservators do, and they take forever. And they leave things out in the sun. And I'm like, why? Well, it dries better. I'm like, But our intent is to keep our paintings for the long term. And so the first thing they do is they're made happy. They are cleaned, they're stretched, they're framed, whatever has to be done to them. Repairs, in painting. The only thing we don't do, and we never do, is we never touch our signatures. If a signature is gone, it's gone. We do not enhance a signature, we do not add a drop of paint to a signature, nothing. It's the only area of the painting we won't touch. And that's just a matter of, if it's gone, it's gone. It's just ethics. But once it's healthy, we frame it. Normally we frame our stuff in what are called Van Hartberger frames. They're American style frames, carved corners, flat. They look very simple, just like our paintings. The point of having our paintings is not for the frame to make the painting look better, but to protect the painting from when it falls off the wall, and it lands on its corner, or to just give it focus. That is our purpose for framing. We don't need those carved plaster frames, with the little gilt angels looking down going, oh, I'm loving. No. Not doing that. And in fact, that clashes with the paintings. If you've been upstairs, you'll know what I'm talking about. Then it goes on the insurance policy. We have a very large insurance policy, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Moving on. We also have, we use a museum policy. And I highly recommend if you have fine art in your home, that you get yourself a rider, a fine arts rider. And talk to your insurance agent, they're great about that. It came with a database, which I used for about 5 minutes, and then almost picked up my computer and tossed it out the window. Didn't work very well for me. So the next thing we do after we put it on the insurance is we photograph it. I have digital, high-resolution digital photographs of every single piece of my collection. So if you steal it, I know where it is. And I know what it looks like. I have taken, how many of you have seen the Thomas Crown Affair? The new one with Renee Zellweger, where she talks about borders. I have those photos. I'm good. I watched that movie and went, oh yeah, we should do that. Okay, most of my borders look like plain canvas, but I got one. Anyway, we also have film. We do 4x6 transparencies because you never know. You never know when that computer, your backup files, your backup of your backup files, and your backup of your backup of your backup files are going to go kaput. So I have physical photographs and physical transparencies of every single piece. And they're all high resolution, which is great because it makes it very easy to do reproduction. And then the last thing I do is I put it on a database. Our database is an access-based database, which is linked via the last name of the artist. Let's go easy, right? And on that particular piece of database, we have every piece of information known about the painting. Where we bought it, who we bought it from, where it was exhibited, as well as far back as I could go. And believe me, I have auction catalogs that go back to 1883. So, and believe me, Sotheby's wants my collection. And I have prices realized for all of those. I also have all of exhibition catalogs from the exhibitions at, the 1896 Philadelphia Word Exposition of, and I have all those. And I search everything. Every time we buy a painting, I go back, I look where it's published, I look where we've gotten it, I search for it. So we have as much and complete information about every single painting that we own, including the most important thing for us, copyright. Because these things were all published, it is under copyright. It was all done for hire. So, unfortunately, Curtis Publishing thinks they own everything, but they don't. And I have become an expert in copyright law, rights and reproductions. I'm very good. I will go up against their lawyers anytime, and just because I'm cuter, I usually win. But that's one of the important things that we need to know. In order to reproduce our work in exhibition catalogs, as I said, I'm writing a book right now on the work of Mead Schaefer, who's one of the artists upstairs. He was a Harvey Dunn student. But I need to be able to know what I can and cannot reproduce for free. What do we do with our work once it's on the wall, once it's happy, and once I'm done, researching it? We do a lot. We look at our paintings a lot. I kind of walk down the hall and go, oh, I forgot about that one. Or I'll go down a different hallway and go, oh, that's really crooked. Or, someone's been playing ball in this room. And I'll straighten the paintings. But what we do is we lend a lot. We lend a lot of our paintings because one of our missions is to share with the world American illustration. Because it's a very underappreciated work. We lend to museums such as, I don't know, the Hunter. We lend to galleries, and we also lend to schools. There are several university galleries, art galleries that we will lend to. If they have a illustration program, we will more than happily lend to them. We've lent to the Asheville School in Asheville, North Carolina. And I think I have that's coming up, we'll talk about that. I also give lectures about our art. I give about our art, I give about our collection, and I actually do talk about single artists. If we do an exhibition of just Howard Pyle, I will talk to you about Howard Pyle until I am blue in the face. I will talk to you about Harvey Dunn until, well, you know, Harvey and I are like this. He is my favorite artist, and if he were still alive, we'd be having an affair. That's how much I like Harvey Dunn. And believe me, he's a little, he's a hunka-hunka. Anyway, we also give tours. This morning I gave a tour upstairs, but we have tours in the home. We invite in docent groups. We invite artists. We invite school groups. If they're, in fact, Radford College, which I believe is in Virginia. No, maybe it's in North Carolina. It could be in Tennessee. I don't know. I don't remember where it is.
Virginia.
Virginia. We've had schools from there. We've had the Fashion Institute of Technology come down from Rhode Island. University of Washington State. We've had Palo Alto University come. They all come to see our collection. We are one of the broadest based American illustration collections in the United States, who is open in their private home for, you know, anybody. Because the Kellys are gone a lot, and I get lonely, and the dogs don't talk, and, you know. So I have to have somebody to keep me company. So I throw a tour every now and then. We also write a lot of books. Books, magazines, there are a lot of articles about American illustration. There's articles about us. If you see, what? If you go and look at art and antiques, we were named one of the 100 best collectors 2 years in a row. So, you know, they write about us. I have my name in 150 illustration books. I counted them once. Thank yous for Elizabeth for doing stuff. So, you know, I'm published, man, I'm published. But we also do a lot of research. It's important because American illustration is not considered part of the curriculum in a lot of art schools. Representational art is often given a lot of short shrift in exchange for that contemporary stuff. Mandy. It's considered kitsch. I mean, up until 1999, when we did Pictures for an American People, when the Norman Rockwell, how many of you saw that exhibition? The Norman Rockwell exhibition that went around the United States that was started at the High Museum. It was a great exhibition, fabulous. But it was the first time that Norman Rockwell had ever graced the doors of a New York institution, the Guggenheim. You know? I mean, that's a big deal. So, one of the things we do with our research is we promote American illustration as part of the canon of American art. It's often considered not to be because it's done for hire, it's not, you know, it's not fine art, which I think is, you know, copy. So that's just my opinion, and, you know, I'm sticking with it. We have had several very interesting and very popular exhibitions. This first one here, Nandini, was from the Knoxville Museum of Art. It was one of our first exhibitions in which we talk about story, and we related stories to our you know, these were all images that were stories. The painting on the front, isn't that great? That's N.C. Wyatt's Bruce on the Beach from Porter's Knights of King Arthur. Isn't that great? It's a wonderful piece. And this piece here is Stories to Tell. We did this exhibition at the Dahesh Museum of Art in New York City on Fifth Avenue. It was in the IBM galleries, which are one of the most prestigious galleries in New York. We had 150,000 people come to see this exhibition. And because they came and saw this exhibition, we then did 4 other exhibitions with various people. But this cover piece is The Boy's King Arthur. And these are both N.C. Wyeth paintings. I think you can come see them in person if you want. And then this one here, Visions of Romance, is an exhibition of romantic illustrations. And the cover piece is, and it's also an N.C. Wyeth. For some reason, Richard likes to use N.C. Wyeth on the cover. Graphically, they were okay, I guess. I would have used a Dunn, but that's just me, and I don't get a vote. But anyway, this was done at the Asheville School, and one of the ways that we promote education, along with doing research and whatnot, is exhibitions at schools. But what was really fun about this one is they were not allowed to see the stories beforehand of the 5 pieces that I had picked for them. And there were actually 27 pieces in the show, but I picked 5 of them. And the English majors and the history majors had to write, all four forms had to write the story that described what was going on. And then the art department I gave the stories to, and they had to illustrate. So not only are we promoting reading of great books, but we are promoting art and all sorts of literacy. Usually our exhibitions, the ones that we do that are solo exhibitions, come with a component of education in which we encourage the bookmobile to come to the museum on a children's day, a family day. We do a lot of bookmaking and illustrating of things. And it's a lot of fun. And I have a whole, if you're interested, I have a whole education packet worked up. This last one here, Illustrating Modern Life, was our most recent show. And that was at Pepperdine University. And what's really cool about this one is it's the first time we have been on the West Coast. It was the first major exhibition of American illustration on the West Coast since, well, ever. And the people who came to that exhibition were all of the West Coast artists. People from Pixar, people from the Star Wars people, people from Disney, people from you name it. If it was a West Coast major movie film group, they brought a bus and they brought everybody up to see our exhibition. And they did that because if you look at, say, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and you look at our favorite actor or character, Captain Jack Sparrow, he's a direct descendant of N.C. Wyeth and Howard Pyle's Pirates. Pirates didn't exist until Howard Pyle created them. They were just some guys who wore really bad clothing and smelled really awful, and that just kind of climbed aboard your boat and took your stuff. But once N.C. Wyeth and Howard Pyle codified what a pirate looked like, the guy with the red sash. Really, how many pirates are going to be running around a boat wearing a sash? The cutlass on the side, the eye patch, the skanky hair, the hat. All of that was created by an illustrator. And then, propagated through Robert Louis Stevenson, one of the most popular writers of the period. In fact, Harvey Dunn often said that although Howard Pyle may have created the pirate, when you looked at an N.C. Wyeth painting of a pirate, you could smell it. So what's really interesting is that we've got all of these modern artists coming to look at the great masters and coming to see how they did it, how they used light and depth, and how they created these images. The image of the cowboy. Remington created the image of the cowboy. Let's see, pirates, cowboys. There's so many different, which one? Dracula, okay. If you go upstairs, how many of you have seen the exhibition upstairs? So you've seen the Count of Monte Cristo, right? You know, the red one with the guy looking really cranky? It's great, you should go see it, it's very cool. But that's the Count of Monte Cristo. They based the 1926 film of Dracula on that particular painting. It's a direct descendant. So you can look at all of these historic objects and historic people and interesting concepts and constructs that come out of American illustration, because frankly, they didn't have TV, they didn't have DVDs, they didn't have movies. What they had were the Saturday Evening Post. What they had was, you know, the women's magazines, and they had all of these things, and with that, we created, through illustration, the world that we all know. You know, we have a common reference point, and now they're coming back and using those same reference points again. So, believe it or not, we have a lot of artists who like to come to our collection, mainly because I give them homemade chocolate chip cookies, and the dogs are nice to them, which is, you know, unusual for artists. You know. This is who I am. You can reach me. Feel free. You can call me. I'm there Monday through Thursdays, 8 to 4-ish. But that's the Kelly Collection. That's what we do. That's who we are. And with that, we love to lend our stuff. We love to share our stuff. We love to show our stuff. So, are there any questions?